Gypsy Rose Blanchard's life took a dark turn as her mother, Dee Dee, fabricated a web of lies, convincing the world that Gypsy was a gravely ill child. Unraveling the shocking truth, Gypsy and her boyfriend orchestrated a chilling plan that would make headlines. This is the gripping story of a daughter's desperate escape from a lifetime of deception and abuse. Please take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating stories like these. Claudine Petre, later known as Dee Dee Blanchard, had her roots firmly planted in Chackbay, Louisiana, where she was born in 1967. The small-town upbringing was the backdrop for her early life, one of 5 children in the Petre family. However, as the years unfolded, so did the complexities of Dee Dee's character, marked by reports of stealing from her own family. Some relatives saw these actions as a form of retaliation whenever things didn't align with her desires. The narrative of Dee Dee's life took an intriguing turn as she ventured into adulthood. Early on, she found herself working as a nurse's aide, a role that hinted at compassion and care. However, beneath the surface, there were suspicions within the family that she might have been involved in her own mother's death around 1997. The unsettling allegations suggested a dark side to Dee Dee's character, centered on denying her mother food, an accusation that lingered in the shadows of her past. At the age of 24, Dee Dee's life took a significant turn when she became pregnant by Rod Blanchard, who was just 17 at the time. Their union resulted in the birth of a daughter, Gypsy Rose, in July 1991, leading to their separation shortly before Gypsy Rose's arrival into the world. Rod's resistance to reconcile prompted Dee Dee to take their newborn daughter to live with her own family. As Gypsy Rose turned 3 months old, Dee Dee became convinced that her daughter had trouble breathing during sleep. This conviction led them on a journey through numerous doctors and hospitals, but the tests conducted showed no evidence of any health issues. Despite this, Dee Dee clung to her belief that Gypsy had a myriad of health problems, attributing them to some mysterious genetic issue. She even went so far as to claim that Gypsy had muscle problems, necessitating the use of a walker. The years unfolded with Gypsy's life taking unexpected turns. A small scrape on her knee from a motorcycle ride with her grandpa was magnified by Dee Dee, who insisted that the doctor had instructed Gypsy to use a wheelchair. This exaggeration became a recurring theme in their lives. In 2001, when Gypsy was 8, though she was actually 10, she was named the honorary Queen of the Crew of Mid-City, a child-oriented parade in New Orleans. However, the shadows of suspicion lengthened as Gypsy stopped attending school early, ostensibly due to her severe health issues. Dee Dee asserted that homeschooling was the only viable option, but some sensed that it was more about isolating Gypsy from others, a tactic that would later be scrutinized as a means of control. Gypsy's education continued through self-learning, driven by her curiosity, and fueled by books such as the Harry Potter series. Meanwhile, her father, Rod Blanchard, embarked on a new chapter with his new wife, as Dee Dee moved in with her dad and stepmom. Strangely, suspicions arose within the family that Dee Dee might be putting poisonous substances, like Roundup weed killer, into the food she cooked for her stepmom, causing her sickness. This period was marked by tension, financial troubles, and legal issues, with Dee Dee facing charges such as writing bounced checks. The family's concerns intensified as they questioned Dee Dee's treatment of Gypsy and suspected her involvement in her stepmom's illness. In response to the mounting pressure, Dee Dee and Gypsy departed for New Orleans, a suburb in Slidell. The unexpected twist in the story came soon after their departure, as Dee Dee's stepmom experienced a notable improvement in her health, casting a shadow of doubt over Dee Dee's actions. In Slidell, they found shelter in a place designed to assist those in need, covering their bills with money sent by Gypsy's dad. Dee Dee continued her narrative of Gypsy's extensive health issues, including hearing and vision problems. Despite medical tests refuting claims of muscle issues, Dee Dee managed to obtain anti-seizure medication after convincing doctors that Gypsy experienced seizures every few months. Hurricane Katrina, which wreaked havoc in August 2005, forced Dee Dee and Gypsy to leave their ruined lives behind. They sought refuge in a special shelter, with Dee Dee claiming that all of Gypsy's essential documents, including her birth certificate and medical records, were lost in the flood. A doctor from the Ozarks advised them to move to Missouri, and so they did, leaving the chaos of Hurricane Katrina in their wake. Settling in Aurora, a town in the southwest of Missouri, Dee Dee and Gypsy lived in a rented house. Gypsy's story, framed as a mother and a severely disabled daughter escaping the devastation of Hurricane Katrina, captured the attention of the media. People in Missouri extended kindness to the duo, with Rod continuing to send money and gifts every month, despite Dee Dee's resistance to letting him visit. Gypsy, with her unique appearance, characterized by her 5-foot height, nearly toothless mouth, large glasses, and high childlike voice, became a symbol of inspiration and resilience. However, the truth behind this facade was much darker. Dee Dee went to great lengths to reinforce the perception of Gypsy's numerous health problems. She shaved Gypsy's head to make her appear cancer-stricken, used oxygen tanks and feeding tubes, and intentionally caused harm when no one was around. Medical professionals' suspicions heightened when Dr. Bernardo Flasterstein ordered tests that contradicted Dee Dee's diagnosis of muscular dystrophy. In 2009, a call to the police led to an investigation, but the police initially believed Dee Dee's fabricated story. Gypsy's life took an unexpected turn in 2001 when she began attending science fiction and fantasy conventions, finding comfort and acceptance among different people. Yet, her attempts to escape her mother's control were met with fierce resistance. In 2012, Gypsy met Nicholas Godejohn online, and their plan to escape Dee Dee's control eventually led to the murder of Dee Dee in June 2015. In the year 2012, Gypsy embarked on a clandestine online journey, connecting with Nicholas Godejohn during the hours when her mother sought refuge in sleep to evade Gypsy's watchful eyes. Godejohn, a man of similar age with a criminal record marked by indecent exposure and a history of mental illness, became a key figure in Gypsy's life. Their digital conversations delved into discussions of marriage and the prospect of having children. By 2014, Gypsy confided in her neighbor Aaliyah Woodmansey, who, unbeknownst to her, considered herself a big sister. Gypsy shared the secretive plans of marrying Godejohn and even choosing names for their future children. Managing multiple Facebook accounts, Gypsy engaged in flirtatious exchanges with Godejohn, exploring various facets, including his predominant interest in BDSM. Aaliyah, under the impression that Gypsy was younger, attempted to dissuade her, dismissing the notion as a whimsical idea. Despite her mother's attempts to curtail her internet usage, including the drastic measures of breaking her phone and laptop, Gypsy persisted in communicating with Godejohn. Their online interactions continued, defying Dee Dee's efforts to intervene. In 2015, Gypsy orchestrated a plan for Godejohn to meet her mother casually, envisioning the development of a relationship between them. This, she hoped, would serve as her escape route from the clutches of her controlling mother. Their first in-person meeting took a surprising turn. Godejohn recounts that Gypsy led him to the bathroom, where they engaged in a sexual encounter. Undeterred by this unconventional introduction, their internet interactions persisted, weaving the fabric of a plan to liberate Gypsy from the oppressive grip of her mother. In June 2015, Godejohn returned to Springfield, capitalizing on the moment when Gypsy and her mother were away for a scheduled doctor's appointment. Seizing the opportunity, Godejohn, with Gypsy's assistance, infiltrated the house. Gypsy equipped him with tape, gloves, and a knife, conveying a tacit understanding of its intended use on her mother. In a harrowing sequence of events, Gypsy retreated to the bathroom, covering her ears to shield herself from the impending chaos. Godejohn inflicted 17 stab wounds on Dee Dee while she lay asleep. Following this gruesome act, the two retreated to Gypsy's room, where they engaged in sexual activity, further blurring the lines between the bizarre and the horrifying. They sought refuge in a nearby motel and were captured on surveillance cameras at local stores while strategizing their next steps. The discovery of peculiar posts on Dee Dee's Facebook page triggered concern among her friends. Worried by unanswered calls and the unusual absence of the pair, friends went to the house, finding Dee Dee's car parked, a departure from their usual unannounced trips. Covered windows added an air of mystery, making it challenging to peer inside. With no response at the door, they escalated their concern, prompting a 911 call. Although the police had to wait for a search warrant, a neighbor was allowed to peek through a window, revealing an interior seemingly undisturbed, complete with all of Gypsy's wheelchairs. Upon entering the premises, the police made a grim discovery: the lifeless body of Dee Dee Blanchard. Concerns escalated, with fears that Gypsy, perceived as helpless without her medical aids, might be in jeopardy. A fundraising initiative was initiated for Dee Dee's funeral, extending sympathy, perhaps unknowingly, to Gypsy. Aaliyah Woodmansey, Gypsy's neighbor, broke the silence, sharing the secret of Gypsy's online boyfriend and the printouts she possessed. This revelation prompted a trace of the IP address, leading law enforcement agencies in Waukesha County to raid the Godejohn's Big Bend home in Wisconsin. Gypsy and Godejohn faced charges of murder, an outcome that unfolded as a stark contrast to the facade of illness and vulnerability Gypsy had been forced to maintain. Sheriff Jim Arnott issued a cautionary note, reminding the public that appearances can be deceiving. The media's revelation exposed a truth obscured by manipulation and abuse. Gypsy was never genuinely ill, and she possessed the ability to walk, but her mother's coercive tactics forced her to feign disability. Arnott advised restraint in the face of charitable intentions until the extent of the fraudulent scheme was fully understood. Dee Dee Blanchard's actions, rooted in Munchausen syndrome by proxy, now professionally referred to as factitious disorder imposed on another, paint a stark picture of abuse, deceit, and the profound impact it had on Gypsy's life. As the layers of deception were peeled back, the public's sympathy shifted from viewing Gypsy as a victim of a violent act to understanding her as a long-term victim of child abuse. The county prosecutor decided against seeking the death penalty for Gypsy or Godejohn, acknowledging the extraordinary and unusual nature of their case. Her acceptance of a 10-year prison sentence in July 2015 marked the beginning of her journey toward redemption. Godejohn faced harsher charges, perceived as the instigator of the murder plot, and received a life sentence in February 2019, with an additional 25 years for armed criminal action. Gypsy's words, spoken during an interview with reporter Michelle Dean from BuzzFeed, shed light on her evolving understanding of the situation. Researching symptoms of her mother's exhibited disorder in prison, Gypsy began to question her mother's lies about her health. She acknowledged her past belief in her mother's fabrications, expressing hope that doctors would realize she wasn't truly sick. As the legal proceedings unfolded, Gypsy's plea deal and the subsequent revelations about her history of abuse prompted a revaluation of her role in the tragic events. The Missouri Department of Corrections confirmed Gypsy's parole, granting her release on December 28, 2023, after serving 85% of her sentence per state law. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. Until next time, stay cautious and remain vigilant.